There's so much to say about Beth, and I'll just say that I met her when I went to her exhibition in '95, and we became the co-founders of the Melville Society Artist Project in New Bedford, which was a lot of fun. We have been to international conferences around the world, and the most recent one we went to was in Tokyo this summer, when she was the plenary speaker at the International Melville Conference to talk about the new Moby-Dick art, and that's the art that's been done since her book was published. So she's keeping up like nobody else is. I'm really happy, however, in this show that we've got some work here she hadn't seen yet until last night, so we're going to get the world expert response to two of the greatest living Moby-Dick artists right here in Cincinnati. So I just want to say
World War II, abstract expressionists such as Jackson Pollock, whom I'm sure you all know, really got into interpreting the novel visually, and from that time, visual interpretations of the novel, visual responses to the novel, visual engagements with the novel have not ceased until we have this. Why has this novel engendered so much visual interpretation? The only other writer that I can think of who has had a similar response visually is Shakespeare. Melville himself was deeply interested in the fact that we learn by seeing. When you say, oh yes, I see, we mean, oh yes, I understand. What he does that is just stunning is from the get-go, he is working with the image and the text. The text is here. Here is the text going along, edging the whale, integrating the way we see with our eyes and the way we see with our mind. It's not only what whales do, of course. This happens to be the killer whale. Whales are loving, caring, beautiful, and Melville makes us aware of that. But I think that it's very interesting to me that in this representation of whales who are like ourselves as a species, that Matt has suggested that what we share is our propensity for killing. Here, however, the word is felonious. Ah, a curious word. Why'd you choose that word, Matt?
After having spent the better part of 2 weeks working on these 14 pieces fairly intensely, I was in a rather bleak state of mind, and there was something about the mealy-mouthed whale and its description and the word felonious that seemed to give me a needed bit of levity at the end. You know, the felonious nature of the whale didn't seem entirely sinister or malicious, but rather mischievous and amusing.
Bob has always worked balancing a kind of a cosmic view with a very humanistic view, with his kind of a goofy presence of Ishmael. But one thing that characterizes these new images is his increased attention to Ahab in very empathetic ways, rebounding from the critical understanding of Ahab as heroic to shifting to seeing Ahab as being evil is also not where Melville was. I think Melville saw Ahab, as Bob Del-Tredici suggests in some of these images, as being in a deeply troubled and anguished soul. And these are the captains of the United States scientific team that was developing the atomic bomb. And he identifies these images explicitly with the Pequod and its crew. At any rate, I think that the diversity of whales, which Matt represents here, reflect, not only has he been the first person to really image the extracts, but he gives us more whales on these two walls than any other artist has ever given us. So most of them are evocative of Moby, who and we go on trying to see that whale. This morning we're in that exhibition in a long gallery that we agreed was either the interior of a whale ship or the interior of a whale. But I feel now we're in a very enclosed and comfortable space. This is more like a space for women, a girl's space. This is much more involved for intimate conversation. I could show you a picture of the very first work that I know of done by a woman, and that is a piece by a woman named Anne Wilson. It is a quilt. It is owned by the Whitney Museum. Profoundly Melvillian in that the whale is not defined by line. It looks so alive as it glows, I think, as I look at it. And this is called Dear Leviathan. Aileen has continued to look at the whale from diverse perspectives, and recently she has focused on the whale's skin. She sees that in the whale's skin is the story of an individual whale, but also the history of all whales. And of course, Melville himself is very interested in the skin of a whale as being hieroglyphical. And I may say that Aileen is committed to doing right now the skin of Moby-Dick. I tell you, we're captured in different ways by this novel. And I don't know what Monica suggested by these wonderful little flickers of light that are arranged on the outside and then go into the inside. They're like stars in a night sky. It's as if somehow Ahab is being forgiven in this piece, as if this is Ahab post-life and he is translated into all of these cosmic particles. This is the ship approaching the ungraspable phantom of life. This is whale, this is wonder, this is sea, sky. And I think this artist, whom I don't know, Danielle Wallace, I think that this looks from the distance like quite a commonplace, realistic painting. It's really not. It drips. When I saw it at first, I thought, oh, this is just another painting of Pequod meeting a storm, or a Pequod meeting the whale, which is just over there. But not at all. I think this is a very, very thoughtful piece. Here we have a portraiture that is superimposed on the sky, the sea, with an image of the town, the port here with sailing ships, but we know it is also the sea because here are whales. They are thus shown in association with a much larger community. The community of humans, the community also of these living beings in the ocean. They are shown in relationship to the killing industry that their husbands, their other relatives were engaged in. Each one has a different coloration, obviously, but the texture of each of these whales is just fabulous. These whales are evidence that they have led complex lives. It is so wonderful about this image is that they are joyful. They are truly the antithesis of the women who have been left behind. These whales, though against a white background, they are in their element. Their element is air here. Shoulder, there seemed to be an extra pair of eyes. And those eyes are looking, the eyes of the warrior herself are going off in that direction, but these eyes on the shoulder are looking at me, but she is also moving toward a goal that I can't see. And the other thing is that Marta Hewett had the ingenious idea of turning the whale around. It's not just on a flat wall, but it's on this kind of curve. It's a wonderful, I think, a very, very important contemporary use of the mistakes that we as human dwellers on the earth have made. The works in this exhibition are also about loving. They are about the fact that these women loved men who left them. It is about the loving relationship between Queequeg and Ishmael. It's about the loving relationship between a mother whale and her child. And obviously the testimony to all of these works is that women are creators.